Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience on getting evaluated for another kidney transplant. I haven't really shared much of it here on YouTube, but I've shared more of my journey on TikTok. So if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure you follow me there. My handle is XOAMAC28. Yeah, so make sure if you want to know more behind the the background, if you want to know more of the background of me getting evaluated for a kidney transplant, just go ahead and follow me on TikTok, and you can see my videos. But I can give you a very short description because this video I want to focus on my experience getting evaluated. So very short background is that I was born with kidney disease. At 12 years old, I got my first kidney transplant. That one lasted me 28 and a half years. 28 and a half years later, so last March, I started dialysis. I do home hemodialysis. So, and right now I am waiting for the call that I've been matched. So with that's my very short background. But let's get started. I have some questions here just to kind of guide me and just to so that I don't get too much off track, just so I can stay on track and give you the information that I want to give you. So first, why did I decide to get evaluated? So evaluation, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if not everybody qualifies to get evaluated. I did when I had my transplant. As soon as my kidney function hit 20 or below, for me, as soon as I hit 20, I was referred back to the transplant center to get evaluated. My personal experience, for my evaluation got delayed about a year because I had a fungal infection, and so I didn't want to go through the evaluation. I'm not even sure if I was okay to do the evaluation. So initially I was supposed to start November of 2022. August of 2022. But in December of 2022 is when I had the fungal infection, and I was focused on recovering from that first. So I started my process November of 2023. And even to just get that one appointment takes a while. So if you've been told that you need another kidney transplant and it's time for you to get evaluated, please try to make that appointment as soon as possible, because like I said, it takes a while. So I did get evaluated at 2 different transplant centers. One I started in November of 2023. That one did take some time. So for that one, I came in on one day that, whenever my evaluation appointment was, I came in. I only went to to the transplant center. I was there, and all the doctors were coming to me to evaluate me. So who do you see? You see the transplant nephrologist, you see the surgeon, you see, I want to say the dietitian as well, You see a financial coordinator. You see your coordinator, because you get a coordinator when you're going through the evaluation process. Who else did I see? A social worker. I think that's it. So they all come to you. This is for this one center. Both centers that I evaluated, they work very different. So this is for, let's say, Center A. For Center A, I just went to the transplant center and everyone came to me. For the Center B, my testing and appointments were all spread out in 3 days. Man, those 3 days were very busy. They started like at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning to 4 p.m. It was 3 days. I had appointments again with the surgeon, with the nephrologist, with the dietitian, with financial coordinator, the social worker, psychiatrist. Who else? And then for Center B, I did have some virtual appointments, just because this center is out of state for me. Some of the appointments were virtually. I also had a CT scan, an MRI, like 3 different heart testings. Yeah, so I met with a lot of people, but those were spread through 3 days. The Center A, they were all in 1 day. And I did, on top of seeing all these doctors, I had labs, and I had a CT scan of my abdomen. And yeah, so those were 2 different like ways that these centers do things. In my experience, I like both. One was, I feel like Transplant Center B was more thorough, as opposed to Transplant Center A. But Transplant Center A is also a great hospital, and it's actually my local hospital. I was born there, and my whole life I've gone to that hospital. And so yeah, those are the 2 different ways that I tested. And then, so once you come in, or at least this was my experience once I came in for my evaluation. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So before my in-person evaluation date, at both centers, I did have a phone call with like a nurse or a coordinator, just to do like a preliminary screening. So they ask you all kinds of things. Have you had a blood transfusion in the past year, whatever it was? Have you had any hospitalizations, any infections, any surgeries, anything like that? And then I want to say that that's where they determine if you're a good candidate to even come in to get evaluated. So once you're evaluated, or at least in my experience, so I come in to the evaluation date, and then while I'm talking to the nephrologist, so this happened at both centers, so I'm assuming this is how it happens. So you mentioned to the nephrologist at both centers, this is what I mentioned: I have a potential living donor, because I had my husband tested, or was willing to test. My husband, my brother-in-law, and my sister, all 3 of them were willing to test. So when I came into both centers, that's what I mentioned to the nephrologist: I have potential living donors. So then I'm not sure what they review. I'm pretty sure it's like labs and whatever testing you've done so far. And they're able to kind of tell you, or at least for me, they were able to tell me right there and then, like, okay, I think there should be no problem. You should be clear to proceed. So both doctors at my evaluation appointment gave me the okay for my potential donors to start testing. So my sister and my husband got tested at, so my sister and my brother-in-law both got tested at Center A, and then my husband got tested in both Center A and B. And eventually my brother-in-law was not a match, or was not able to donate to me. My sister was not a match because of my antibodies were rejecting her blood. Excuse me. And then my husband's not a match, but my husband is willing to donate on my behalf. So he started his process to donate, to get evaluated. He started, I think it was like December or something, I'm not sure, of 2023. So it took him also a while at Center A. Center B, he started the process on his birthday, September 5th, and then he was fully approved at Center B maybe a month or two after that. So Center B worked pretty well, pretty quickly. Center B, Center B, I started my evaluation process. So the call I had in like April or May of 2025, and then my in-person appointment was June 30th, July 1st, July 2nd, and I want to say even July 3rd. It was 3 days straight of appointments, like I said, from early to like 2-3 in the morning. 2-3 p.m. So it was 3 full hectic days of a lot of testing, a lot of appointments. But for them, I started in late June, early July, and I was having a full approval by, I want to say like October, November. I remember it was my friend's birthday and I got the call saying, we're adding you on to the list. So they were pretty quick as well. And then it took us maybe a month or so for my husband and I to talk about it. And I ultimately left the decision making of which center we were going to go with to my husband, because since he's donating a kidney, I want to make sure that he's comfortable. So I'm comfortable with either center, one, hospital. It's like a second home to me, and I love my doctors, and I love that's a great hospital. The second one, it's a really big hospital. It's a really, really good hospital as well. And so I'm comfortable with either one. So I just left it up to my husband to decide which one he wants to go with. Ultimately, he decided he wants to go with option B, so hospital B. He called his coordinator, and within an hour, my coordinator called me, letting me know that my husband has decided, or my living donor has decided, to move forward with the paired program. So my options were, what were my options? So my options were paired program, in where they will pair me and my husband with another couple, and we would kind of like swap. So my husband would donate to the recipient, and then that recipient's donor would donate to me. And then the other option is exchange. So my husband, for that one, my husband would donate first, and then they would find me a kidney. And for the third option, which in hospital B, that was not an option, or at least it's not an option right now, but essentially is to wait for like a cadaver kidney. For option A, I had all three options. So I was approved for all three options. But in option A, if I waited for a cadaver, it would take 8 to 10 years for me to get one. So that's a long time. Yeah, and so for option B, for hospital B, and the option we're going for, what the estimate was, it could take days, or it could take up to 6 months, maybe a little longer. So far we're in about a month, so we're just waiting to get the call, for them to tell us that they found a match for both of us. What else? Okay, what does the process include? So like I mentioned, this is at both labs, heart testing, scans like CT scans. Sometimes if they, like for example, they found something on my CT scan, they had me do an MRI just for more detailed. You have to do a psychological evaluation. Make sure that mentally you're ready and you're okay to proceed with a kidney transplant, because it is a lot. It's a lot. What surprised me? It surprised me how every transplant center does things differently. In my experience, both centers were very opposite and did things very differently. So, yeah. And why I decided to evaluate at 2 centers is because so both centers are from different, I think they're called OPOs, or different districts, and so that opens up more, like a bigger pool for to get a kidney transplant. And you have more chances. So if you're able to, I would recommend to do 2 different centers. What is the hardest part emotionally? I think it's just the waiting, because it's a long wait, and especially if you're doing it while being on dialysis, oh my goodness, it's very hard. At least for me, very hard. I never wanted to be back on dialysis, because I did dialysis 29 years ago when I was a 12-year-old, and thank God I only did it for 1 month, exactly 1 month. But I never wanted to be back on the machine, but God had other plans. So I'm 1 year in, almost 1 year in. So for me, that's the hardest part, being on dialysis, knowing that I am dependent on a machine. It's just waiting, just the waiting period. It's very hard. What advice would you give to someone that is just starting? I would say, if as soon as your EGFR, which is your function, your kidney function, hits 20, please start the process, because it's very long. The process is long, and like I said, depending on your transplant center, it might take even longer than me, and depending also on your health. I am very grateful and thank God that my only real problem is my kidney. Or yeah, I don't have diabetes, thank God. I don't have any other issues health-wise other than like endometriosis, but that doesn't really affect this. But yeah, so if you have like high blood pressure, heart problems, liver problems, pancreas, any like other bigger issues outside kidney, yeah, it might take a little longer. It just depends on how your health is, but that's my suggestion, to please get the process started as soon as you can, and yeah, make sure you keep all your appointments. And then with ending with hope, there is hope, because a transplant is a hope. So if you work towards getting a transplant, I hope you do have hope, because yeah, just being on dialysis is not great. But I'm living proof that you can live a happy, you can live a very normal life with a kidney transplant. And I think if you're having kidney issues, I hope that's a goal that you put for yourself, and try to stay healthy as much as you can so you're able to get a kidney transplant. And that was it for now. If you have any questions, let me know. I would be glad to answer any questions. And if you're coming from my TikTok, leave me a green emoji or green heart emoji below in the comments, so I know you're coming from my TikTok. But yeah, and I'll see you next video.